Pues bueno, primero empezaremos en español. Muy buenos días y muchas gracias por acompañarnos hoy en esta presentación. Para los que no me conocéis, soy Nuria de DMC Reps y bien, estamos encantados hoy de estar aquí con vosotros, poderos presentar el webinar sobre Kenia y también que conozcáis a nuestro partner en el país, que es African Quest Safaris. African Quest Safaris es un receptivo que lleva ya casi 30 años trabajando en el sector. Actualmente tiene un equipo joven y dinámico de más de 35 trabajadores. Y hoy tendremos a Tasmin, que es su cofundadora y también es CEO de la empresa. Creo que veréis que ella es una enamorada de su país y eso se nota tanto en sus explicaciones como cuando organizan itinerarios y viajes. Con esto me gustaría ya solo deciros que vamos a hacer ahora a continuación una breve introducción para los asistentes portugueses que va a hacer mi compañera Paula y a continuación ella ya dará paso a Tasnim para que empiece la presentación. Seguiremos al final de todo con unos minutos para hacer las preguntas que queráis y si en algún momento veis que es necesario pues, cortarnos un momentito para hacer alguna pregunta, también lo podéis hacer, ¿de acuerdo? Y sobre todo tened en cuenta que el webinar se está grabando y nada, vamos para allá. Paula, te paso la palabra.
Gracias. Bom dia a todos, a todas. Obrigada pela participação, aos participantes de Portugal. É um prazer estar aqui convosco. Eu sou Paula, da DMC Reps. Hoje temos como convidada ou como apresentadora dos seus produtos a nosso parceiro African Quest Safaris. É um DMC bastante bem posicionado dentro do mercado queniano. Trabalha não só com o mercado queniano, também com o mercado da Tanzânia e trabalha também com outros parceiros e outros mercados. Trata-se de um DMC de confiança que já está estabelecido no mercado há bastante tempo, quase 30 anos. Tem cerca de 30, 35 colaboradores, uma equipa bastante jovem e profissional. É certificado em turismo sustentável com a certificação Travel Life. Bom, vamos dar início à apresentação. Gostaria ainda de chamar a atenção para o facto de que esta apresentação vai ser gravada. A vossa cara não será apresentada, mas a apresentação vai ser gravada. Sempre que tenham dúvidas, façam favor, por favor, só de escrever e colocaremos as dúvidas ou numa pequena pausa a meio da apresentação ou então no fim da apresentação. Portanto, basta escrever em português ou espanhol ou inglês, tanto faz. Somos poliglotas. Obrigada e dou então a palavra a Tasmin, cofundadora da African Quest Safaris. Tasmin, please. You may start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Nuria and Paula. Buenos dias, bom dia to everyone joining us from Spain and Portugal this afternoon. My name is Tasneem, and very quickly we are going to go into a very special presentation. Everyone knows Kenya for its beautiful safari locations and of course our most wonderful beaches. But we would like today to show you Kenya going beyond the trails. It means that we don't lose the essence of our best, both of beach and bush, but we make it even better by ensuring that we bring you special experiences to make the trip a truly holistic travel experience. Welcome again, Jambo and Karibu, Kenya going beyond the trails. When we say holistic travel experiences, what are we talking about? We're talking about how do you make a travel trip to our part of the world 360 degrees, capturing and evoking every sense, all the five senses. And nature here has given us the perfect opportunity, because we are blessed with an incredible climate. We are blessed with outstanding sanctuaries of natural habitats, so that we can create the holistic travel experiences. The African Quest Safaris team, both Nuria and Paula have very briefly touched upon it. So I'll just quickly tell you, we are almost a 30-year-old company. I founded it in 1994, and I run it together with my brother, the gentleman you see on the right-hand side of your screen, and a very young and motivated, dynamic Kenyan, and of course in Tanzanian team of staff that are all fresh graduates or graduates of tourism, and are trained within the company, essentially in the spirit of the company. What does the company believe in? The company's motto is, one size does not fit all. And that is our philosophy of travel, that everything we create is created with the customer in mind, always. Whether it is for 2 people, a family, or 100 people, what is the customer looking for? And that is what makes really our passion. That's our USP, that's our forte, and that's our passion. So these are just a few images, we'll go straight into it. What am I saying when we say holistic travel? We're saying going beyond the trails. We're saying we're living the dream, just differently. You see, East Africa is one of the few places on earth where you can still experience an authentic safari. I want to underline the word authentic. The reason is, all our national parks and our game reserves are natural. We found them as God created them, and they became the heritage of the country. So when we talk about authentic safari experiences, we are truly saying that you're not going into a made-up sanctuary. You're going into where the animals have always lived from when time started. And here we can show you watching those thrills live, both, again, accompanied with history and culture. And then, like most Southern Europeans also like to experience our beautiful Indian Ocean coastline. What we are saying is that we all have the same dreams, whether it is me looking to travel somewhere next year, or whether it is that consumer of ours, that client, looking to saying, how do I fulfill my dream? But there is in the last 22 months, there is a new need that has set in all of us as human beings. We have a wish and also this need to do things differently. COVID has been, in a slightly, motivating way, a blessing also, because it has made us stop from doing things the way we always used to do and saying, how can we do it differently? Maybe the same experience, but how can I show it differently? How can I make it touch the heart? So with our wide open spaces, our remote places, we are able to bond with our nearest.
I'm really sorry, I think we lost her.
Lo siento, creo que la conexión no es de la mejor en Kenia. Estamos esperando que Tasnim se conecte otra vez. Un momento, por favor. Hi, Tasnim. There you are.
We lost you.
Apologies, I'm
Could you please check if Sonia is in, because she went out? Is she in again? Okay, thank you. I believe you can proceed.
sorry,
Anthony.
Jill, you'll have to make me a host again.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great, super. Okay. So I was saying it's time for Africa, but going beyond the trails. Most of you know Kenya. This is just a rappel of what our card looks like. This is the map of Kenya. And as you can see, very, very many places in green. And we continue to focus on conservation. And Kenya still has more than 44 national parks and approximately 12 game sanctuaries. So we have a lot of our land under conservation. When do we visit? Again, this is a rappel. Many of you may have sold Kenya before, but this is for everyone. Really, it's a 365 days destination. We have 3 specific seasons, not 4 like the way you know them. We have a tropical winter time, which is from July to October. And the highlight of this season is the Great Wildebeest Migration. This is the over 2 million wildebeest and zebra that travel between Serengeti and Masai Mara. Our summer extends from November to March, which is the typical European winter. And the highlight of this season, which many people don't talk about, is the calving season. This is the birth season in the animal world. This is when you will see all the animals with their little ones. It's a very special time to see how animal families bond, how they nurture and how they protect their young ones. I call it, at African Quest, we call it the other great, because there's the Great Wildebeest Migration, but this other great. December to March are our warmest month, especially February tends to be very warm, being on the equator. And we have a green season, which is April to mid-June. We call it green season. We don't call it our rainy season, because now in almost 10, 15 years, we have lost the rains. It has not been raining as we used to know in sub-Saharan Africa. In fact, we have more drought. So our rain has no pattern. In 2020, we had rain almost every day, like 300 days of rain, but 1 hour, half an hour, 10 minutes a day. And so our game reserves, our natural conservancies were remaining green almost all year round. Very beautiful and very special as well, because it kept the weather really spectacular all year round. So let nobody tell you that it rains in April, because it can rain in December also. So it's very unusual. The weather pattern globally have changed. So we say Karibu really 365 days of the year. I want to just mention that during the green season of April to mid-June, we have fantastic availability and even more fantastic pricing. So for a first timer whose budget is a little tight, this would be a great way to explore Kenya, a great time to explore Kenya. Now, we're talking about going beyond the trails. Today, we're not talking about classic, and we are saying how, where. In the cities of Nairobi and Mombasa, we want to show you the sights through the eyes of the locals. We have some incredible initiatives that have come into play in the last 5-10 years. For example, in Nairobi, we have a street boys group. They are called Nai Nami. They will take you to see the Nairobi through their eyes. The Nairobi that a normal visitor will never see. The Nairobi that is the real Nairobi. And like that, we have a group of local guides in Mombasa that will show you the Mombasa through the locals. You will be setting foot with them into the terrain, which is their terrain. Very different, but always secure and always keeping in mind the safety of visitors. We can share a day in a children's orphanage or in a rural school or in a city school, but where it's a low-grade school. Here you can share your skills or you can share a little bit of your wallet, whatever you want to. But it's a life-changing experience. It adds value that has no price. Explore the hidden areas of our cities with our trusted guides, living the vibe of the city, getting to know where are the young college-going people having their coffee, which are the top coffee houses, where are the brasseries where the locals hang out, where does a local shop for his clothes. Really, the different way of exploring a city, the real way of exploring a city. We're saying, come and have an authentic lunch or a dinner. It can be in a select restaurant, or it can even be hosted by our guide in his humble and modest home. We have very many clients who enjoy that, to eat a local meal at their guide's house. And we invite you to that. These are two very stark sides of Nairobi. Luxe on your left, reality on your right. That is the Giraffe Manor with our famous Ukrainian influence blogger feeding the giraffe, the Rothschild giraffe. And here is a Nainami, a street boy, showing one of our guests around Nairobi, the real Nairobi. And I'm not ashamed to say that you can see behind you, there are people selling used oil. There is some dustbin, some vegetables on one side, because that is what the real city is, along with the new side of the city. Here is a typical roadside informal sector. We have a huge informal sector. What is informal sector? These are artisans that bring their work to the street, so they don't have a formal place to work from. And this particular place is a pottery. He's making flower pots of different kinds, color, different texture, and anyone can stop here and buy a pot. You can have a conversation with him, because travel today is about storytelling. Travel today is when you will go back home and say, I met a potter who makes this kind of a pot in Nairobi, and this is me with him. That is what the story is today, isn't it? All of us want to tell a story. Here is a typical local restaurant where you will engage with the chef, you will engage with waiters, and you will be dining not in a touristic place, you will be dining where the other locals are dining. This is a way to give back. I said earlier, take part in an orphanage, either with your skills or with your wallet. This was a group that wanted to share with their wallet. And this was a supply of 1 year of school material and food for an orphanage school of 148 children just outside of Nairobi, in the slum areas of Nairobi. Again, a small impact, but that creates a very big difference in the life of these children. You will meet people like Joshua here, whose mother makes these baskets, and he takes off every weekend to sell them for her in the local marketplace. During the week, from Monday to Friday, he's in college. These are the stories we are talking about. And then let's talk of how do we really go beyond trails and safari. Everywhere you travel in Kenya, we can take you beyond the trails. We can register you with many of the conservation projects around the country, where you can be a donor, you can also be an observer, and join the project team as they continue their work in saving the rhino, in doing research on the cheetahs, in doing research on the elephants. I'm happy to say that these conservation projects today have led us. Kenya is the #1 country in Africa that just finished in the month of July a census on all the animals that we have in Kenya. And I'm happy to report that we had a 400% growth in our elephant population, thanks to such conservation projects. During your travels around the country, you will be crisscrossing the real countryside, farms, shops, open air markets. We invite you to include a visit of a traditional farm or meet a local market vendor during these trips. Make the stop, enjoy, share. You know, your client may be a farmer and he may want to have a conversation with a maize farmer in Kenya. We can arrange that. That is really now touching those heartstrings. We can also arrange for homestays. Kenya had a delegation that went to Malaysia. Malaysia is one of the largest countries in the world with homestays. And we took a book from their, a leaf from their book of homestays. And we have registered and classified, vetted families, Nairobi, Mombasa, Nanyuki, Kisumu, many places where you can share a night or 2 nights and be with the local people. Share a meal with them. How do their children go to school? What do they do in a daily life? Participate in services in a church. If you're a Muslim, go to pray in a mosque. Or just be an observer, even if you're not a believer. Just see how people here believe in the various traditions, ancient traditions of the people. You can visit a rural school. Just the way I showed you the school in Nairobi. African Quest Safaris has many partnerships. One of our prime and flagship project is a school outside of Masai Mara that we built in 2007 in partnership with 12 villages. Today we have 350 school-going students there. And I built that school with one aim. I wanted it to make it easy for the girls to be able to go to school. And I'm happy to say that out of 350, 200 are girls in the school. So really, we have so many such projects all over Kenya. And we invite you to participate. We invite our guests to participate with us in those projects. Sustainability is very important for us. As Paula mentioned, we are a Travel Life certified company. And I want to share this photo because there in front of you is, we were the first company in Kenya to eradicate individual water bottles. We brought in the large water bottle, 20 liters, with a pump. Clients must bring their own water bottles and use as much water as they can. There are 2 things we're doing. We're saving the planet by removing plastic, and we're saving the planet by conserving water. Because when we used to give individual water bottles, what did we find? Somebody would take 1 sip, leave it in the pocket of his seat, and then forget about it. We would have to throw 300 or 400 ml of water away every day because the person would not use it again. So this makes everybody conscious for a better living purpose. This is an elephant collar project. This is the Mara Elephant Project. Your guests can participate in this for a fee. They can spend a day with the team and know more about how they collar the elephants, how they keep a track on them, and so much more about the intimacy of this gentle giant. How does it breed? What does it eat? Why is the elephant DNA the closest to that of the human being? Why does the elephant cry? When does he cry? These are small things that this team will share with our guests. This is the Rhino Project. Very recently, we hosted a team from United States, and they got so up and close to the animals, this incredible animal, and we have now 3 of the largest rhino conservancy programs in Kenya. Here is a tea farm, not far from Nairobi. You can visit this. This is the first tea plantation in Kenya and still run by the founding family. Here are the highlands. Everybody always thinks the Kilimanjaro is in Kenya. It's not in Kenya, it's in Tanzania. But the picture on your left is taken from Kenya. That is the Amboseli National Park because it has the best view of the mountain. Because the mountain sits on the border. Can I tell you a very interesting story? The mountain was in Kenya But the Queen decided during the time the boundaries were being made between Kenya and Tanzania that she would give that portion at that time to Tanzania, which was under the German rule. Otherwise, how could we divide a mountain into two, right? So we had to give away the mountain. On the top right is Mount Kenya, the only mountain with snows. It's on the equator and it has snow-capped peaks. And the bottom right is the Ngorongoro crater. We talk about carbon footprint and how to avoid and how can we avoid. Are there trips and excursions that we can do that we don't have to be sitting in a car? Yes, there are. This is a boat ride on one of our lakes. We have several lakes where you can do boat rides. So you are approaching nature through water, by water, through a water vehicle. Culture is very, very key. Every safari that we do is about interlacing culture and people. In fact, when we do exit survey, we ask our visitors, what were the 5 things that you will remember the most about the country? And you know what is the number 1 thing? It's not the animals, it's the people. It's the friendly, warm people of Kenya. And that's why it's our biggest asset when we intertwine it with our safari programs. We talk about community projects you can be part of. You can stay in places which have a firm commitment to renewable energy, to building communities. We have so many such projects. Meet a startup that is changing the life of average Kenyans. Add wellness into your holiday. Just one yoga session in Masai Mara, can you imagine? It would be spectacular, right? So you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and as the sun rises, you are saluting the sun in these incredible plains of the Mara. Travel by train to reduce your carbon impact and enjoy so much more besides just looking at the animals. Zip line, whitewater rafting, kayaking, all this is available to add value to a trip in Kenya. These are the red elephants of Tsavo. We have a conservation project here where you can adopt an elephant and then come and visit them at their stockade in Tsavo East National Park. This is yoga on the beach. It can also be yoga in the bush. It can be anywhere. We have yoga festivals, but we are also able to incorporate this in your safari program. It can even be just for 3 people because we have a fantastic project called Africa Yoga Project, and we have partnership with them. They are training all the street people who have passion for yoga into yoga masters. So imagine their lives are changing and they in turn are changing lives of others for the better. This is a vintage car, you know, have a photo there, have your wedding there, maybe even repeat your vows there. This is learning about the ancient traditions of the Maasai. How do they live? They're still a nomadic tribe, just like the Samburu. How do they live? Here is a cultural immersing program. It can be 3 hours, it can be 1 whole day, it can even be 3 days, where you learn much more in depth about this tribe. You just don't visit it. This is young Morans that will be initiated into Rendile. This is a tribe which very few people see. They are in the north of Kenya. It's incredible. These are all young people. None of them can even speak our national language. They only speak their local language. These are images of experiences that we are able to put into every safari program. I want to mention particularly on the left-hand bottom is what we call a sundowner, a bonnet sundowner. These are quite spectacular. At the end of the day, our driver guide will stop in a very nice location and lay out a sundowner private for the people in his car. And that creates the wow experience for those clients immediately. We don't have to set it up specially. It just becomes an impromptu. Here is an immersion of a village. The 2 ladies are the host ladies on the left, and the 2 ladies on the right are our visitors. What they are showing you are their bracelets that they beaded with the help of the Maasai ladies. That too is possible. Now, such a memento, such a souvenir will always bear it'll always have a special place in your heart because you made it. But you made it through and almost making a new friend somewhere in another part of the world. Here is our rhino project again. This is our blind rhino in Ol Pejeta Conservancy, where now you come very close to the animal and look at it up and close. Our roadside markets, that is me with a Turkana lady. See, her beadwork is very different. So she is a newlywed, and that's why she has still her very full beadwork on the neck. I met her at a roadside market. And these are the impromptu stops that I'm talking about when we say going beyond the trails. We are not just driving. We are making it special every bit of the way. This is another Maasai experience. This is another one of our lakes, again, with a guided boatman. So the man who's driving the boat is also a guide. He's a bird guide. And this group are specialists, bird specialists. And they are now looking at all birds. In this particular area, we have more than 480 species of birds. And they're trying to record and photograph them. I talked about startups. You know that Kenya is now Africa's biggest IT hub. More apps are being created by our young men and women here than anyone else in Africa. More venture capitalists are coming here. This group of motorcycle riders are a startup. It's called Sendi. So you have an app, and if you want to just send something from your office to a suburb, so maybe you are in the heart of Lisboa and you want to send it to Sintra, Sendi will run it for you in an app. You call him on an app, he comes, he picks up, and he delivers. This is now changing lives of more than 4,000 motorcycle riders. Each rider is an independent owner of his motorbike, but linked to the app. We have the Jane Goodall Chimpanzee Sanctuary, Ol Pejeta Conservancy. Incredible again. This conservancy is taking care of the orphaned chimpanzees under the Jane Goodall program, and we are able to visit it, learn more about it through their research center. Trekking, these young people are going to trek a mountain. It is 5 a.m. in the morning, and that's why there's a foggy climate that you can see. Dhow sailing trips. Dhows are our traditional boats, and just don't do short trips like an excursion. We can also do overnight, 2 nights, and 3-night trips for somebody who wants to explore in a different way. See, the base product remains the same. How you explore it is what we are talking about here. How can you make it different? And believe you me, in Spain and in Portugal, you have a lot of clients who may have been here before and who may want to visit, but they want to visit in a different way. And this is where we can capture their attention. Experiencing the difference with African Quest. Our guides, ourselves, our relationships with our suppliers are very special. They are founded on humility, they are founded on trust, and they are founded on an authentic give back. African Quest on philanthropy policy is very big, where we are supporting villages for water, for education, for food during drought. It's not just one time, it's a continuous exercise. And our relationships are very strong. So we are really able to move mountains, as we say in English. That's authentic Swahili local cuisine. Whitewater rafting. Here, what is happening is, again, our philanthropy is coming in. Every year, we join a team that raises funds for cancer patients in Kenya. And this was last year where our team joined and came #2 in the Whitewater expedition. And we managed to raise $5,000 for the cancer drive. Equator crossing, not just a crossing, not just another picture, a little more than that. On the left-hand side is me, and there are 2 jugs down there. That is a Coriolis test, a water test to show you the true difference between northern and southern hemisphere. This is the beach of Diani, and we are preparing for a festival, the Dao Festival. These little Galawa boats will go down and race. You can be a spectator, you can be a participant, or you can just decide to do what this guy is doing, walking before they go out taking some pictures. Exploring on your bike, did you know that? We can park the safari vehicle for half a day and you can explore some parts of Kenya using mountain bikes. Here are our guests from Austria, and they are in Hell's Gate National Park, which is near Lake Naivasha. Very few people explore this park. It's spectacular. This is again an impromptu stop where the guide will explain to you what is the Great Rift Valley and why it has impacted us so much. The train is changing the lives of Kenyans. The Madaraka Express was opened in 2018. In 3 years, it has changed lives for travel between Nairobi and Mombasa, not only for the local people, but for our visitors as well. For example, you can do a safari, finish in Nairobi, and say, I want to go to Mombasa. We will take you by train. And you will crisscross all of the great Tsavo National Park. You will be sitting in comfortable business class, or what we call first class seats. You see the picture on the left in the bottom, 2 seats per row, and brand new train. In 5.5 hours, you will have traveled from Nairobi to Mombasa. You will have met some interesting local people, and you will have some new stories in your treasure box. Our school group tours are equally exceptional, where we really create itineraries fit for kids between 8 and 16 years old. Our bush lunches and bush meals, roadside markets, deep sea fishing. Oh, there are incredible ways to finish off at the coast. You're not just going to take some sun. You have history, you have culture. You also have sports. We have kite surfing, we have parasailing, we have wind sail, we have scuba diving, we have big game fishing. Best season, September to April, which is your winter season. Mountain climbing, of course, adventure all the way for the young and the young at heart. And I just want to say that in our business today, relationships is everything. Trust is the new currency. And we leverage our relationships with our suppliers and with our partners to create incredibly memorable programs. Because I come from the school that now that the world is such a global village, we may not have repeat clients, but when we can make that impactive travel experience the first time really exceptional, we will have won a client for life. And that's what we all want to do. Thank you very much. Asante sana.